At this time, there are 2 additional programs the town is applying for the bridges. FEMA and pre-disaster mitigation. This is a nationally competitive program. It would not hurt to apply for this one. Shovel-ready projects will score better and have a higher likelihood of selection. This one is requiring a good amount of work. That's why we're asking them to do this cost proposal for us. The application is due 10/15/17. This program is available.
So we got a month and a half to look at it.
This is available. Right.
Excuse me.
If the town decides to move forward with HEB, we'd need to work closely with the representative from the town.
I guess I'd feel better if you came in.
Okay.
That's before we sign up or something.
Okay. Yes,
I didn't mind,
there is a cost of $1,750.
which may be negligible for what we're gonna get.
Right.
I'm fully informed on the first.
If we feel that
proposal, not so much on the
that there's a reasonable likelihood that the program meets our situation, then spending the money to have him do that work is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
If the likelihood is low, then I think you have to question, are we just, I mean, the effort he puts into it is gonna be the same whether there's a good likelihood that we can get a grant or not. But a little legwork on our part.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that he's looking for places for us to find funds to do these bridges, but I think we need a little more explanation on it.
Okay, this is the issue I have. Our next meeting
Not till October, I hope.
is
I don't know
September,
what to do.
is September 11th.
Mhm.
We don't meet next Monday.
I'm fine with that.
So our next meeting is the 11th.
Yeah.
We've got until the 15th of October, and we can sign it next Monday, or
Okay.
a week from Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Put it on the agenda, assuming they can be here in a couple of Mondays, right?
I just know they did say a lot of time.
Am I missing something here? I know you've done a lot of research on this.
Well, the cost was to do a lot of the background work to see if we are eligible, and it takes a lot of time. And so that's why he had to put a cost for that one. So,
Right, but is it-
Right.
is it research on the physical properties of the bridge, or is it research on our applications to receive grants?
I understand what you mean, I understand it's the latter. What your qualifications if you're gonna meet
Right.
the needs of the grants, that's how I understand
Right.
it. I had to add something for correspondence, I'm sorry, I didn't
Yep,
put
go
it in
ahead.
there.
Go ahead.
Offices are closed.
Mhm. That's correspondence, right?
Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
So
Yeah.
we can finish the
Yeah.
signature file first.
This is a yield tax levy for lot 30-2-14 in the amount of $574.63.
Move approval.
A second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. I forgot to sign the second page there.
Yes, you did. But you'll get it when it comes back.
That's right. Next is from the tax collector. Please abate for tax lot 39-2-16, $382 plus interest. This is for a 2017 tax bill that should not have been issued. The property is exempt.
I will move approval.
And the exemption is, okay, I'll second for discussion.
Can't own it.
So is there,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 nay.
Okay. Motion passes 2-1.
I think in the future when we do abatements, we should inform the tax collector that we want a little more information than what we've received right there. Because certain portions of these camps, we really need to take a hard look at.
Do you want to table this in
No,
retrospect?
a vote 2-1 is fine.
Yeah,
I think,
it's,
you know,
Yep.
yeah.
her expectation was this. I mean, we're just going forward, I think we need a little
Yep.
more information.
All right.
Next is this authorization for the 2020 census. Needs my signature.
It does.
Okay, do we need a vote on that?
Wouldn't hurt.
All those in favor? I mean,
Move
motion.
approval.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Signature of the tribal chair or highest elected or appointed official responding to this invitation. That's what it said.
That is a tribal movement?
That's what it says in the small
We'll get
print.
one of the Samoset people from the
Yeah.
canoe race on Saturday.
Anything else for
The only one
signature
here
file,
qualifies
Karen?
as a tribal member.
Guy Pike isn't here, so.
Anything else for signature file?
There's a Stantec thing in there?
Pardon?
Maybe the Stantec landfill, is that the beginning of correspondence maybe?
I think that might be in
Is that under
correspondence.
correspondence?
Okay, as long as that gets
Okay, are we
approved. Actually, it doesn't have a signature, I think that's why. It's just needs your
continued
approval.
business? And the next is Selectmen's update. Sometimes they run together.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to Selectmen's update.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I certainly want to recognize the leadership in the Old Home Days weekend of Gina Losard and Jackie Rollins. I don't want to say they single-handedly, but they really spearheaded the effort. And I was involved with and attended many of the events, and it was everybody that was involved seemed to be having a good time. And I believe participation pretty much all around was at a higher level than in last year's event. I will put an appeal out for individuals to step up and be involved in next year's Old Home Days Planning Committee. I think it works best when you have enough individuals that somebody can say, I'll take care of coordinating this event, so that you don't have one person wearing the hat for a lot of events, and prevents burnout all the way around. But the weather cooperated, and everybody seemed to have a good time, so that was good. Two other things that I will touch on. Milfoil Control Committee meets tomorrow morning, just sort of a mid-season update, review the harvesting that was done in July, and look forward to what will be done between now and the end of the season. CIP committee meets on the 6th of September, and will be at that time considering the first project submissions for this year's CIP consideration. And that will include at least 9 projects that are in from the fire and rescue department.
So that's for next year's budget, is that?
That's for the next 10 years.
10 years,
Right.
okay.
Right.
And when does the CIP bring forward its recommendations for next year?
Around Thanksgiving.
Okay,
They gave us a copy of their tentative meetings.
right, I saw that.
Well, I
Anything else?
have-
Do you have anything?
I reported on Friday last when there was no one here, except for the 3 of us, that I've arranged a meeting with health insurance companies on Thursday. And the idea being that I'll get the report together and report back to you, so at the next meeting we have. It seemed like that was the only way we were gonna get this put together. I also reviewed the COLA numbers that we were given, and hopefully by and we have a budget committee schedule now, so hopefully by the first budget committee we'll have agreement on that. Maybe in September we can delve into the COLA.
I agree with you guys. Tufton Borough was well served with Old Home Days. Congratulations to everybody who helped out. Don't want to leave anybody's names out. Be bigger and better next year. Corey Hunter waited nicely until the state mowed along the sides of the road, 109A, and then in time for Old Home Days, did the wall. Nice job. Citizens in Melvin Village are willing to trim the bushes at the end of Lake Street. And Jim will haul off the brush as needed. It's nice to have volunteers. Okay, we're ready for correspondence, okay? Our first item is from Heather Kubadu, is modification of hours for the town clerk's office. They'll be modified, and those hours will be posted. They're already posted. We have 2 piles of correspondence, some things that don't need action, and anyone can read them. These are the ones that we've been asked to mention. Flu shot, Tufton Borough Central Fire Station, October 10th, 10 to 12, sponsored by Lakes Region Visiting Nurses Association. Please remember your insurance card. It's $25 without insurance. They asked me to remember that. Parks and Rec Commission meeting. We have the minutes. Kind of self-explanatory. Under new business, Steve Wingate was present to speak on drainage issues at the town beach. The parking lot appears to be draining into the lake. Possible fixes include adding wetland grasses and bushes, adding 2 sump areas to the parking lot. Other considerations include writing permit to fix drainage problems and request adjacent beach upgrades that are included in the watershed plan. He's working with the road agent and the Parks and Rec people. Town of Tufton Borough, we have the minutes of the Capital Improvement Program Committee. We have the New Hampshire Department of Labor announced recent changes in the labor laws. Kind of minor. Here's something interesting. This is from Stephen Sherman, change in the district forest ranger. Stephen Kessler has resigned. took a job as a police officer in Guilford. And since he's not our district ranger anymore, we will have a new ranger. Until a new ranger is hired, it will be the captain out of the Forest Protection Bureau. A copy has been given to Adam. What's interesting is it's not just forest fires, it's also cutting activity. Karen, can you make contact to make sure that Brian Nowell, Nowell, still gets copies of all our
Oh, sure, okay.
intent to cuts?
Yep.
This is River Street dock repair. The town share, the dock repair association is $1,774.17. There currently is a balance in the docks and bridges account of around $2,400. There's an estimate from Jack of $1,000 for the planned purchase and install of a new bubbler for one of our docks. Bill mentioned, I suggest we defer considering this until the end of the year. If we have dollars available, we can pay this in 2007, if not budget it for 2018. And I have a note from Karen, says I don't believe that we discussed this in a meeting, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, well, when David Ladd was here and presented the idea that there was gonna be a charge that the town was responsible for, I know in the conversation at that time, we talked about, okay, but, you know, it wasn't budgeted in our budget this year, and it may not, you may not get reimbursed for it until next budget year. And it's not a huge amount of money. On the other hand, with some of the budget lines that we're running long on, I think it's something that we should.
Well, it doesn't
Defer.
appear we have the
Okay.
money in docks and bridges anyway.
Right,
Take $1,000 out for a bubble, you want
Right.
$1,400 left.
that we should, again, if there's enough room to get it in this year, then by all means, but
How is David Ladd about that? I guess, or the.
we told him that when he was here. that-
I remember we told him, I just don't know if that.
I haven't spoken to
Can be
him
a
on this,
material.
but I think he was pleased that we were going, you know,
We were gonna pay our
We owe
part.
him the money.
you know, and we do own part of the dock.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a work in progress. Our next correspondence is from David Allwine. He is from Centec. This is what you asked about.
Mhm.
This is a copy of the landfill data submittal form. Unfortunately, I didn't receive this when it was sent in July, as it was sent to an old email address. Can you give this to Clay, have him review it? And I want to speak to him about what's on page 4 and 5.
He has
okay?
reviewed it, he did receive it originally,
Mhm.
and then the person at Stantec just needed to know if it was fine to submit to DES, because I was hoping to hear from you folks about that today.
Okay. I'm trying to find the letter that says what is the status. This is just documentation of the test results, right?
Right, he wants to know if it's okay to submit that to the state,
Okay.
because he had some
For their
concerns.
review.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
I have a couple of concerns, one on page 4 and 5, when because the samples get handled as evidence and it says weren't properly sealed. I go back to police days with blood and samples like that.
So are you
There's a
saying you're
custody
gonna
issue.
reject those things?
I don't think so, because at the bottom it said tests were able to be conducted, but I have two concerns. Why did it come to the wrong address? And,
he just wrote our old email address.
okay, what I'll do is I will follow up with Clay personally, okay?
Okay, yep.
I have no problem with it being sent because it's the data. Correct?
Right.
Okay? Okay to send.
Okay, thanks.
This is new. It's from Bill Watson. We are sending the enclosed notice to your organization in an effort to encourage your participation regarding transportation projects planned for the next, between 2019 and 2028. And, you know, we have a couple of projects that are on the 10-year plan. One of them is the 109-109E intersection. And I would like to work with the TAC and with Mark Howard. The other one is Tuftonboro Corner of the blind intersection there, where we keep having accidents. I'll be
You gotta
willing.
tear down the house, you really got that, don't you?
Yeah. They actually did that in about 20 years ago in Alton. And they just did one in Rochester, type thing. But I'll be willing to follow up on this, okay? Next is from Chief Shigori, the 2009 Ford Expedition has the equipment and markings removed. It's ready to sell. It has 91,500 miles on the odometer. Attached is a bid invitation, draft of an invitation to bid. Andy approved it. Is it okay to go forward?
I think so.
Yes.
I read it.
Yeah.
Did you read it?
I looked it over, yeah. It's just,
Another thing is, we asked Corey Hunter to get an estimate for the 8 plants, and Karen contacted him. He'll be getting a quote before doing so. He'll also advise us if this is a good time of year to do it, or whether we should wait till next spring. Okay, any other correspondence? You have correspondence here to read?
Yep.
Okay. I want to bring something up. We will not be having a meeting Monday,
Correct.
and the 8th,
And that's Labor Day.
Labor Day.
and you're not available
I'm not available
the week
Friday morning.
after.
No, I'm available the week after, I'm not available Friday
Right.
morning.
Okay. So, yeah. Our next meeting is Monday, the 11th. The first Friday in September is the 1st, and you're not available, correct?
That's correct.
Are you folks available the 8th, on September 8th? Is that too far away for you? Would be the last time I'll see you. This is what I'm
Is
thinking.
that a Friday?
Yes. This is what I'm thinking. I have a list of things that we've asked the road agent to get back this on, and he wasn't able to be here today. And we also have a list of things that we've asked the police department to do. And could I schedule 30 to 45 minutes for each of those people on Friday at 9 o'clock?
Sure.
The 8th.
The
The
8th?
8th,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, that's assuming they're gonna be available. If just one is available. I'm kind of thinking, as your chairman here, we're getting into the dog days of budget season, and we don't need these things backing up on us. So, but I need your help on that. Karen, can you handle that for Friday, September 8th at 9 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay. Any other business from the selectmen? Any other business from anyone? Go ahead.
I'm interested in the planning board appointments. I haven't heard any discussion of them at any of your meetings or seen anything in any minutes. So I'm wondering, you know, who came up with the list and when did you figure this out?
They were, some people were people that I approached, and some people were people that approached me or Jack.
I don't think there's an interview process.
Usually there's a discussion of,
Yeah.
you know, we've got 3 people or we've got 6 people or whatever, before the things get made out.
There wasn't one.
Okay?
I asked Jack as the chairman if They passed muster and he said yes. He recognized the names and either had conversations with them or spoken with people, so.
I think you have to have a new election. I'm not certain, and I've looked at that statute a couple of times.
What, well, there will be an election on the planning board for a
Right.
new chairman.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, yeah,
Right.
I won't belabor it, but I think there has to be a new election.
But that's that committee's responsibility.
Right,
Yeah.
it's not our job to
Right.
hold elections around here.
I don't know who had their hand next, so I'll go ahead.
Okay. On the planning board, I only got down, one was gonna, Jim Libby's gonna be on alternate,
That's correct.
but I only got 3 other names. And
And there were 3 vacancies.
okay, John LaPola had resigned, so had, Chris wasn't reappointed, and Fenton and Tony resigned.
And we had one more person, we had 8 members and we should have had 7.
How
We
did-
had 1 too many members. I have no idea.
I think one
It
was an
preceded
alternate.
me.
Everybody wanted to be on the planning
Yeah.
board back then.
Okay.
Good question.
I'm not sure, so,
Oh, I don't care.
okay, go ahead, Joe.
Next planning board meeting,
Is on the, should be on the 7th, I believe it is, of September.
September 7th, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, first Thursday in September.
And my peripheral, all set?
Yes,
My peripheral vision caught a hand over here.
I just wanted to say that we have I think it's firm, I'll call it tentative, October 10th, because it will be our first budget committee meeting. And I wanted to ask for when you will be deciding for sure on cost of living on the COLA.
Well, that's why I brought it up. I thought we'd get some sort of decision made
And are you
before the,
linking it to
before October
consumer
10th.
price indexing like we talked about with the committee last year?
Similar to last year, yes. Last year, last week, the selectmen set some firm dates so we can stay on schedule,
Right.
that we'll be making that decision by the 8th of September.
The COLA numbers that I was given were for all urban consumers, 12-month percentage.
Yeah,
US city average labor.
it's a different one than we worked with last year, and I will dig those numbers up, the regional.
You know, part of it is so you folks can plan and, you know, but also the department heads just, every year, past years have said, please don't make us do our budgets over. There was one year they did it 5 times, and of course, you understand, everyone in this room understands that when you start figuring in retirement and social security and benefits and all of that, it just,
Well, we should have in hand, when the budget committee meets, all of the small budgets on the 10th of October. That's the goal that I've set.
yeah.
And hopefully we'll have some determination on COLA, which will leave us with the fire department, the highway department, and the police department.
I would think before any department goes ahead with their budget, they're going to need that information
Yes.
from COLA. So that's really important. Okay.
Okay. Karen, have we missed anything?
Well, I don't think so, just
Okay.
non-public.
Max one
Give
time.
another hand over there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to say, Chip, I think that it would be great if you are more fiscally conservative than I am. And I think that would be a good idea to limit the number of warrant articles to sort of focus town meeting. I don't know how that would work with the roads always needing to be a warrant article, which is something that
Well, a
is
certain
obviously
number,
very...
a certain number of the warrant articles are, in my mind, discretionary
Yeah,
purchases.
yeah,
Whether we get a cruiser this year or next year
right.
isn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Fire engines, things
Yeah.
like that.
I see the distinction you're making, yeah.
Equipment purchases.
Yeah.
So we need to look at those items, and then if we're gonna jump into a big purchase item such as the library,
Right.
how does that impact?
Yeah,
How can we balance that out?
yeah, and I think that,
But when I said I was more fiscally conservative than most people in this room, is because I paid for the library in 1 year. I really don't like debt.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I can convince everyone in Tufton to agree with me on that, but that's just my personal opinion about long-term debt.
It's certainly an option.
Yeah,
I think that if we were to pay for it in 1 year, we probably could get it passed with a 50% vote, because it's, when you finance
Yeah.
it, that you have to go for 2/3 vote.
right.
So,
I think it'd be an interesting conversation with the budget committee and the public to run a tax rate, paying for it in 1 year, run a tax rate over a 10-year bond or whatever, make a comparison.
does anybody know if that 700,000 fundraising, is that just the private fundraising, or does that include the capital?
It
capital
includes, it
reserves?
includes the capital.
700 was the
Yeah.
gross.
And then just one more thing, which is in addition to doing a policy about contractors, which seems like you guys had said that you were going to do, will you please also do a policy on mutual aid agreements? Is that in your calendar? Are you planning on doing that? You've had some discussion of that within the last month.
Yeah, I know we discussed it. I think that it's an ongoing discussion. We need to review the mutual aid agreements that we have.
Kind of seems
I
like
know that
a
we can-
related.
I don't know that we
Thing.
can do any major alterations to those mutual aid agreements, but
Maybe you could change some of the dates in them or something.
could be.
I
I
think
mean,
they're-
I don't know what.
I think they're 25 years old, so.
And I don't know if they run in perpetuity. So I-
And so I guess the question is, if it's old, back in the 90s is when the RSA went in and it was adopted at town meeting to participate in mutual aid. So if the mutual aid agreements were done in accordance with the RSA at that time, and nothing is different than then, okay, then redoing them doesn't necessarily
or maybe-
do anything.
Well, maybe it's
Sure,
not,
but we have
it
an
may not be an option. I mean, if they're all
Well,
structured around an
We have an
RSA,
ambulance
it
now.
may be limited to what we can
Right,
do.
right. I mean, we have different equipment than we had then, but that doesn't necessarily change the mutual aid,
And it
the
can,
way mutual aid operates.
it can seem to be a solution in search of a problem sometimes. I think a more interesting examination would be what, on an annualized basis, do we actually spend on mutual aid? And what, on an annualized basis, do we receive in mutual aid? How is that balanced out? And if it's way out of balance or it's an enormous sum of money, at that point, I think we revisit the agreement. I mean, we may decide not to have mutual aid, which I think would be foolish, but I'm just saying that I don't think that we have enough information to say that it's a bad deal yet, because we haven't looked at the deal, so.
Well, no, and I'm not
Perhaps that's
necessarily
a-
saying that either, but
Maybe that's the next step.
yeah, I think
Is direct the fire department to